Hi guys, Mr. Popple here. Today I'm going to be teaching you a science lesson. So we are going to be learning about the water cycle and what it is and what it means. A water cycle essentially is the process of the water moving through our atmosphere continuously. I'm going to show you a quick diagram to explain it in more detail. This is the water cycle. The water cycle has 4 different stages. The first stage is evaporation. The red squiggly lines next to it indicate the change of liquid into a gaseous form, water vapour. The water vapour is then carried up into the atmosphere. A process called condensation then happens, which is the cooling of the water. The cooling of the water can then form clouds. These clouds eventually get too heavy and the water or sleet or snow may then fall. This is called precipitation. After this step, it is the collection phase. This is where all of the water that has travelled through the water cycle collects at a body of water. This can either be the sea, a lake or rivers. Right guys, now I've explained that, we can get on to the experiment. So we are going to be making the water cycle in a bag. You are going to need a few things for this. You will need a Ziploc bag, a felt tip pen, I've got a Sharpie, a little bit of water and some sellotape. Right, once you've got all your materials together guys, you need to label your water cycle. So the first thing I'm going to do is put the C along the bottom and I'm just going to label that water. And our technical term for that is our collection point. So I'm just going to write collection at the bottom next to water as well. Our next stage is evaporation. So I'm going to write evaporation just there with our arrow. Our next arrow is condensation. As you know, as I described in the video before, this is where the clouds form. Our final stage is precipitation, which is a fancy word for rain. Right, your bag should look something like this. If you'd like to, you can also draw some landscapes. So I'm going to draw some mountains in the background just here, and then I'm going to draw a little island with a tree just here as well. It's a rubbish tree. I'm sure you guys can do a much better job than me. Right, once you've labelled your bag, like so, your next job is to get your jug of water and fill up your bag ever so slightly. So I've got about 100 millilitres of water, so that should do. I've got quite a large Ziploc bag. Once you've poured that in, you need to grab the top and press along the sealed line to make sure that your bag is sealed the whole way across like so. So you should have a little bit of water in the bottom of your bag and then your labelled water cycle ready to go. I have grabbed my sellotape, I've pulled off 2 small pieces to cover the corners and I'm going to sellotape it to a window. When you sellotape it to the window, I would ask an adult for help just in case, because you don't want water going all over the floor, and make sure that you're putting it in an area that gets access to a lot of sunlight, because don't forget, when evaporation happens, it needs heat to occur. So if it's in the sunlight, that is where your water cycle will have most effect. I have had my water cycle up on the window now for about 2 hours. And as you can see, there is a slight misting effect on the bag. And if you look even closer, you can see some droplets of water beginning to form, which is the precipitation process. So it might take a little bit longer than 2 hours. It depends how sunny it is. Fortunately, it was very sunny today. So I think that's helped my water cycle process along quite a bit. You need to monitor the process that happens inside that bag. As we know, there are 4 different stages. It starts with evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and then it ends up at the collection point. This is a cycle, so that means that the same thing is repeated over and over again. My job for you is to summarize what the water cycle is and how it works. Now, don't forget, I'd like to use lots of technical vocabulary, and I would also like you to send in your answers to me so I can give you lots of rewards and dojos for doing your work at home just as well as I would in school. So guys, on that note, keep up the hard work, and until next time, bye.